Once again, we are collabing with Suparee. This time we are going to install these rock lights underneath our Jeep Gladiator. These are RGBW LED rock lights. They are multi-angled, which is going to give us a better lighting effect underneath the fenders or wherever we put them, where most rock lights are actually flat. These are not. They actually have little angled windows. A cool feature about these rock lights, you can either download the app or you can use the handy little 40 key remote that comes with them. These, either the app or the remote, offers up to around a 30-foot distance range so that you can operate your lights and change the colors. I'm sure there's probably tons of neat little patterns that you can use, and it looks like it may even have like a timer option on it. Kind of cool. We'll have to check that out after we get everything installed. The little units are fully sealed, and that makes them waterproof. They're good in extreme weather, keeping them protected so that you don't have to replace them quite as often. They also actually should be good for up to 50,000 or more hours of use, which that's pretty good. The lights themselves are pretty small, about 3.5 inches long and maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide. Not real big, so it should be pretty easy to find a good spot for them underneath your fenders or wherever you decide to place them. They come with easy wiring that just kind of, well, they just kind of snap to each other and then to a remote unit that you will mount somewhere underneath your hood. There's 3 ways that you can install them, and it does come with all that you will need to use any of those ways. There's sticky pads, there's zip ties, and there's also bolts with nuts. And if you want the no drill option, which we are hoping to do, we're going to stick with sticky pads and zip ties. We were sent the 6-piece set, which is plenty for us, but there is also an 8-piece option if you need a couple of extra lights. Maybe you have a longer vehicle or you want them front and back too. We're going to probably try to run ours all the way down each side rather than putting any on the front or the back. I think we're ready to get started. Let's go install these things. Before you go ahead and mount these, you're going to want to make sure that you have them positioned properly. That is going to be dependent upon what you want to use these for. If you're looking to have extra lighting while you are rock crawling, then you're going to want to put these more towards the front of your fender. If you want them more for like a show, parade, things like that, then you can put them more in the middle of your fender. These, being multi-angled, may provide plenty of light in the middle, but we're not sure. And everything that we've heard is more, if you want them for rock crawling, you're going to want them in the front. Because if you put them in the middle, it may cast shadows on the other side, on either side of your tire. We are more about the parade and, I guess, show for these types of lights. We don't really do trails at night, so we're going to mount them in the middle of the fenders. Well, this is the wiring harness. So there are 6 of these that run 1 to each light. Then you have the part that runs to your battery that you'll hook up. And then it also does have an inline fuse, and it does come with the fuse. I'm not exactly sure what this little on-off switch is. I'm assuming it's just an on-off switch. So if you don't want them to work, you can turn it completely off. Each light comes with a wire that is already attached that's going to hook to this wiring harness. We have 2 lights that come with extension wires, and those will be at the back because we need that extra wire to come all the way forward. The little box is right down in there. Obviously we have not hooked it to the battery yet, and we're not going to yet. We aren't even mounting the wires, but we have them run down, and we've removed the skid plate, and these 6 wires are hopefully going to be able to be kind of tied back out of the way. But first, before we do all that, we're going to stretch out the rear, well, probably all the lights. We're going to stretch out the cables, make sure everything looks like it's going to reach, because we don't want to mount anything until we make sure everything's going to reach. We are having slight technical difficulties. We moved the box because, well, the wires to the lights are not long enough. And so we're putting the box more towards the back under the hood and trying to run the 3 on either side, and just barely getting this driver's side back to reach. This side's going to be, I think, a little more difficult because we have to work around our exhaust pipe, and we're still not sure if we're going to be able to get them to reach. The wires really need to be longer. The extensions really need to be longer. We have got all the lights strung out. There's another one down there. And then the other one's up on top of this. We don't have them mounted yet. We're about to get ready to do that, I believe. We did test them. We don't have it wired up, but we did. Jesse touched the wires to the battery just to make sure, and I tested the remote and everything, and yes, they are working. I think we are ready to start actually mounting these. We are going to go get some little bitty self-tapping screws to go ahead and screw these lights to the fenders, because a couple of them, the wires are stretched so tight that I think over probably a short period of time that the sticker is not going to hold it. But we're going to probably go get some small screws, but the bolts that come, literally bolts and nuts that come with this kit, are just way too big. That's like a clean spot right there. So we're cleaning off where we're going to mount these, because we need that sticky tape to stick until we can get our little screws to mount. So this is going to go like this right here. Now, because of the short wiring, I was not able to mount these into the center like I wanted. The back ones are going to be off to the side. The front ones can easily be mounted into the center, but these have to be this way. The tape does seem to be holding pretty decently. We are still going to do screws because I don't expect that tape to last very long, being that these are like flat on the back and the fenders are rounded. Another update on the little control box. We had it here. We had to move it. We put it back there because when we put it up here, we realized that that far back driver's tire, the cord wouldn't reach. So this is our tip to you. Lay everything out. Mount nothing. Run all your wires, attach all your wires, make sure everything's gonna still reach. You're gonna have to check, double check, triple check, quadruple check, because if you pull that any little bit at all, you lose your distance back on the back sides, especially one side or the other, depending where you put this little box. I think we've got it. It seems to be pretty even on the back ends. As I said, we couldn't mount them exactly where we wanted to, but that's okay. I think it's still gonna look all right. We've got the sticky pads mounted to the 4 fender wells. We are now going to start zip tying up some wires and somehow, hopefully, mount the center lights. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet. We haven't got to that. I'll let you know. Here's the front drivers. Got it down here. It is zip tied to, I don't know, like a frame support thing for the shocks. All this wasted wire is from the front that could have easily been shortened and put to the back, which would have been nice. We have it running, zip tied running, zip tied running. The box is just on the other side of this. The bottom, the middle is zip tied up in there. The rear one running, and the wire is zip tied all along the frame under, clear up to the front. Same on this side. This one is sitting more flush. However, this is curved, so I don't expect that to stay. So we'll get some little screws to put in there. Middle one on this side is also zip tied up underneath kind of evenly with the other side. The front, we have it running up. It's zip tied right here. So I think Jesse is ready to get this hooked up, and then we can kind of show you what it looks like. Jesse's got these little ends. These do not come with the kit. These are just, it just comes with the wires. We suggest you use these. You can get a whole box of these things at Harbor Freight for like little of nothing. He's gonna hook those to the battery, and then we should be able to turn it on with this switch, and then on and off with the remote. Not gonna be able to see this very well right now because it's daylight, but I want to go ahead and show you. I'm using the remote, and you can turn this off with the remote. Now that little kill switch has to be on, the one that's under the hood, in order to use the remote and turn it off and on. You have all these different colors that you can change it to. Teal, purple. Of course, I'm probably going to use orange most of the time, but you do have also these little patterns, and you just push it and it'll go through for you. This is some kind of a timer. These are made to work with music. I do not know how to do that. Right now, I'm just going to leave this on plain orange. When it gets dark, we'll have to take this out and show you what it looks like in the dark. See my Suparee headlight rings? I like leaving them in orange to match my orange accents of my Mojave. Now, there it is. Well, now that just looks pretty darn cool. So Jesse's gonna play with this a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Got some purple going on there. Oh, now we got some strobe effect going on. Fading going on. I think that looks pretty good. I don't even think the odd placement at the back that I was not tickled about, I don't think that really hindered it at all. I think this is going to be really fun for shows and things.